Ooh, round 2.
Ooh.
Mavs Kings, Friday night, Golden One Center in Sacramento. It's going to be an incredible atmosphere for this showdown in a monster game. There's no denying it. The Kings are one game behind the Dallas Mavericks right now in this battle to get into the top 6 and avoid the play-in. If the Kings win, they win the season series, meaning they've got the tiebreaker. Well, the tiebreaker only matters if you're tied anyway. You got to win no matter what. But this is a big-time game for the Sacramento Kings, but it's a big-time game for the Mavs, who are coming off just an all-out, blowout, dominating win in Sacramento where they won by 36.
They demolished the Sacramento Kings, and not just because they won by 36 points. It was the way that Kyrie was playing in the second half, Luka was playing in the first half, the way that the Mavs altogether shot lights out from three-point land, and then the Kings couldn't figure it out from anywhere on the floor, it felt like.
No, and I think the offense was a big problem for Sacramento. Warning, put a disclaimer up. Beep, beep, beep. This is not an excuse. Beep, 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 beep. Yeah. I'm curious to see what the Kings look like after playing. They just went through a stretch where they played 5 games in 7 nights. We know Dallas was on a back-to-back too. That's not why they lost. But these are human beings we're talking about. The Kings just didn't look like themselves. Part of that was I thought Dallas did a great job defensively. PJ Washington, when he was switched on to Sabonis, dude, he played him physical. Sabonis, anytime he was on the paint, it was like they were collapsing. The length impacted the Kings. Gafford was great. I thought Dante Exum's size messed with Fox, picking him up full court. Same with Derek Jones, who's super long too. Who could forget Derek Lively? There's a lot of length out on the floor. But the Kings just offensively, they got to the paint and the defense would collapse and it would be like there was no off-ball movement. Well, there was just no quick decisions by Sacramento.
You talk about them, disclaimer, them being, possibly looking tired even physically at times, which is not an excuse, but just fact, right? But they also could have been physically or mentally tired as well.
Yeah.
Because I felt like their decision-making was not quick at all. And you're exactly right. You saw the way that the length really affected their offense. De'Aaron Fox even had opportunities of going downhill past Luka Doncic, but then would get a little bit too deep. So then someone like Lively would come up, use his length, take away his vision, take away his shot. De'Aaron would have to pass it out, but then it's not like it was a spray 3. Everyone was still in place. The defense was not shifting over, collapsing or anything because decisions were being made just a second too slow. So you're hoping that the Kings really figure it out, especially in that mid-range area. I know you and I have talked about this. Can the Kings set up some of their actions just higher up near the half-court line so then they can create more in the mid-range?
I want Fox getting downhill, and if they're not going to defend the mid-range, take the mid-range shot. You're a good mid-range shooter. You can knock it down. If not, get into the paint, quick decision, spray out for 3, and keep moving the ball. I want more cutting from Sacramento. There was a lot of stagnant offense, like a lot of standing around, which was not good for the Kings. They'd have to play much faster too. And understand, like, De'Aaron is going to be denied the ball on the inbound. They're going to pick him up full court. They're going to make him work. But that's why you play Fox and Monk together. Maybe you take some pressure off Fox in that regard. They have to play better. Part of it too is Sacramento's got knockdown shots. Last year, we weren't focused on the Kings offense because it was really good. The shooting was good. Coming into this season, we were focused on, can the Kings defense be better? Ranked 24th last season. Could they make a jump? It's made a jump. It hasn't always been pretty, but they've been averaging since the All-Star break above average. In March, like top 5, top 10, whatever. They've done much better in that regard. The shooting's dropped off dramatically.
Yes, it has.
I was looking at the numbers today. Since the All-Star break, Morgan, Sacramento is 23rd in three-point percentage at 34% from 3.
Yikes.
In March, 33%.
Yikes.
Let's also remind you, a couple of their three-point shooters, Lyles, Herter, not there. Same with Sasha. Herter's been up and down, but still a threat from 3. Your 3 main guys shooting the 3 right now, Fox, Monk, and Murray. Well, Fox is shooting 32% since the break. Monk is shooting 27% from 3 since the break. Keegan's at 37%, but has dropped to 31% in March. So you're not making shots right now. Next question, I'm sure you're wondering, Morgan.
I'm so wondering.
Well, How open are these?
How open are
they're
these?
getting some wide open looks.
Okay.
They're 7th in the NBA in wide open 3-point attempts since the All-Star break. But they're shooting 35.8% from wide open 3-point range. That's 22nd in the NBA. You got to knock down some shots. So I don't know. I'm very curious to see how the Kings show up. I don't think it's going to be a blowout game, although Dallas seemingly poses a lot of issues to the Kings because of their length and size.
Yeah, and I think when you do look at some of those numbers, just looking at the way they have been shooting the basketball and that a lot of these even have been some open threes, it's about just making sure you're still playing your game and not allowing this Mavs defense that is a good defense to just completely change the identity of how you usually play. And I think that's really going to start for the Kings on the defensive end. We talked about how the Mavs were shooting so efficiently from all over the floor in this last matchup. The Kings, obviously, you got to control what you can control. And I think what they can do a better job of, Deuce, is just making sure that on a lot of these possessions on the defensive end, not switching everything.
Dude, they gave up the switch so easily at times. It was absurd. And Dallas was like, cool, thank you. I got what I wanted.
Yep.
Oh, okay. You want to allow Sabonis on to Luka or HB on to Luka? Okay, we'll take that matchup.
Yep.
Or they have to mix up the coverages. Let's not get it twisted. Luka is one of the best players in the NBA.
Correct.
There's no secret formula to shutting Luka down. You're just not going to do it. You have to make life harder on him.
Mm-hmm. Disrupt his game.
And it's harder than ever when you've got Kyrie out there. Yeah. And if guys are knocking down shots.
Yeah.
That's tough to beat. So that means you have to knock down shots. But defensively,
that's what I'm saying.
I'm cool with a blitz every once in a while. You can't do it all the time. Mm-mm. He picks shit up and he will make you pay.
That's
Kings
the issue.
Would blitz and then your help isn't there in time to get back to the open shooter. That hurts you.
That's the issue. If you are going to try and blitz someone like Luka Doncic, he's going to be able to make that quick decision, find that open man. Your defense is not going to rotate fast enough. Okay, so then what do you do differently? Well, you make adjustments from what you were doing, and what you were doing was just switching everything. Try to pick up Luka maybe in the backcourt, slow down his game. We have seen him still go downhill and still create and get to his spot, but it's just about slowing guys down, slowing things down, because if you can help make things better on your defensive end this next game by just creating more missed shots for this Mavs team, you can grab that rebound and go.
You don't need so many open looks.
There just wasn't enough opportunities to grab a rebound and go, and that's why the Kings weren't able to push. But even if the ball does go in as efficient as it went in last matchup, then take the ball out quicker and go. I just feel like they just need to play a very fast-paced game on this Mavs team.
Yeah, and I would not put Sabonis on PJ Tucker. Or it's PJ Tucker.
PJ Washington.
PJ Washington. I'm not putting him on PJ Washington because I didn't like that matchup, that PJ Washington Luka action. And then you're in a situation where, you got Sabonis dealing with Luka or PJ Washington. That's tough. I'd rather put Sabonis on Gafford and live with that. If Gafford's going to come up and set screens, let Keegan possibly switch on the Gafford. At least he's got some length to deal with that.
But you know what else was happening too? You're exactly right, because when he was out on PJ Washington, it was just pulling Sabonis out of the paint.
Exactly.
So then he wasn't able to be that second line of defense, make someone's life more difficult down there. So yeah, you want to make sure Sabonis is still playing down low.
And even if he is not some crazy shot blocker, he is done a very good job at getting vertical. So yeah, you're gonna have to throw different looks at Luka. Hedge, I
like that.
Blitzing every once, or you got to fight through it. You got to stay attached to the guy and make him work. But I think the other thing for Sacramento is you have to make them work defensively, right? You got to make Luka work defensively. So Kings have to play with pace tomorrow nonstop. I'm not saying this shit's easy, but your best chance to beat the Mavs tomorrow is pretty simple. You got to knock down some goddamn shots and play with pace. And then hopefully you get enough stops.
I love it. We're just naming 20 different things.
But
hey, you just got to do this, and that's how you're going to win the game.
But I'll tell you, I have some newfound respect for the Mavs watching them play recently. I think these moves have helped them. Yeah. I think they're more locked in.
And it's clicking. It's vibing.
It is.
It's
dangerous.
Well.
We've always said if you have Luka and Kyrie, you better have some length and defense around them. And it seems like they've got that. And it's like, dude, they go from Gafford to Lively?
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like.
They got a lot.
Lively is so, he moves his arms and it's like, are you serious? You're like have a 90-foot wingspan.
That's actually what it is on paper. So,
well, let us know, Mavs fans. You can chime in on the comments too. Kings fans, what do you want to see in this game? What are you expecting for this game 2 of this little mini pre-playoff matchup?
ooh.
It's a big one. Friday night, Sacramento Golden One Center. We'll be live after the game to break it all down. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe.
Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know.